You won't believe what Diana Ross just confessed about Michael Jackson after 50 years of silence. Picture this. One of the most glamorous, untouchable stars in music history. Flawless on stage, fiercely private off stage, suddenly opens up at 81 years old to tell the world what really happened between her and the king of pop. And no, it's not what the tabloids made it out to be. It's deeper, much deeper. For decades, fans speculated about the connection between Diana Ross and Michael Jackson. Were they just friends? Was she his mentor? His muse? Maybe even something more? But now, for the first time, Diana's telling her side of the story. And the truth? It's more heartfelt and powerful than anyone could have imagined. Let's take it back. Before she was a legend, Diana Ross was just Diane Ernestine Earl Ross, a girl growing up in the Brewster Douglas housing projects of Detroit. Nobody back then could have predicted she'd go on to become the lead singer of the biggest girl group of the 60s, the Supremes. With hits like Baby Love, Stop, In the Name of Love, and You Can't Hurry Love, Diana didn't just sing the songs, she owned them. She was the centerpiece of the group, and it was clear early on. She was destined for solo stardom. When she branched out in 1970, her first solo hit, Ain't No Mountain High Enough, didn't just top the charts. It exploded, and she kept that momentum for decades. Upside Down, I'm Coming Out, Endless Love, hit after hit after hit. But behind that powerhouse voice was a woman with a story, one full of love, heartbreak, sacrifice, and secrets. And one of those secrets, her connection with Michael Jackson. She met Michael when he was just 9 years old. Wide-eyed, bursting with talent, and already carrying the weight of a future he hadn't even begun to understand. Diana saw him not just as a performer, but as a soul, and she took him under her wing. He had this spark, she said in a recent emotional interview, but also the sadness, like he already knew what it meant to be alone. Their bond went beyond music. Diana became a second mother to him, someone he could confide in when the cameras were off and the world was too loud. She shared stories of late-night calls, 3 a.m. phone conversations where Michael would whisper through tears, "Do they still love me? Do you still love me?" And she did. Always. He never stopped being that little boy who just wanted someone to hold his hand, she said, her voice shaking. He carried a lot of pain behind that smile. Even as he transformed into the king of pop, and she continued breaking barriers on stage and screen, their emotional connection never faded. She saw what the world missed, the vulnerability, the longing, the hurt. Not the headlines, not the surgeries, not the controversies, but the human being underneath. She didn't judge him. She protected him. He wasn't broken, she said. He was beautiful, just burdened. But Diana's life wasn't just about fame and music. Her personal journey is a whole saga on its own. In the 60s, she fell in love with Berry Gordy, the mastermind behind Motown. That relationship gave her her first daughter, Rhonda. But in a twist straight out of a drama series, Diana married music exec Robert Silberstein while pregnant with Berry's child. And Robert? He raised Rhonda as his own, knowing she wasn't biologically his. Rhonda didn't find out the truth until she was 13. Talk about family loyalty. Diana went on to have 2 more daughters, Tracy, who you know from Blackish, and Chudney, who took a quieter path in education and children's literature. After divorcing Silberstein, Diana's love story took an international turn. She met Arne Næss Jr., a Norwegian billionaire and adventurer. Together they had 2 sons, Ross and Evan. You've probably seen Evan in the Hunger Games or heard his music. Diana also became a stepmom to Arnie's 3 kids from a previous relationship, blending their families with love and warmth. But happiness isn't always permanent. In 2000, Diana and Arnie divorced after it was revealed he had fathered a child with another woman. And just 4 years later, tragedy struck. Arnie died in a mountain climbing accident in South Africa. Diana was devastated. Despite their split, she always referred to him as the love of her life. Through it all, heartbreak, motherhood, fame, she never lost her spark. She kept performing, creating and showing the world what resilience looks like. And in 2025, she reminded everyone that she's still the queen of reinvention. At this year's Met Gala, Diana, at 81, made jaws drop. She arrived in a custom-designed gown with an 18-foot train, embroidered with the names of all her children and grandchildren. Every step she took on that red carpet was a tribute to her legacy, not just as a star, but as a matriarch. The crowd was stunned. And the most beautiful part? She admitted it was her youngest son, Evan, who convinced her to attend. "He told me the world still needs to see me," she said. And he was right. She also made waves at the Grammys and the Brit Awards earlier this year, receiving standing ovations and tributes that prove just how timeless she really is. But it's not just her music. It's her truth that's now capturing hearts. Because Diana Ross didn't need to say a word about Michael Jackson. She could have stayed silent forever. But she chose, in her 8th decade of life, to speak out. Not for gossip, not for glory, but to remind us all that behind every legend is a human being who just wanted to be loved. "He wasn't a ghost or a cautionary tale," she said. "He was Michael. He was love. And he was mine, in a way that can't be explained." So maybe that's the real takeaway. Legacy isn't just about the songs you sing, the awards you win, or the red carpets you walk. It's about the lives you touch, the truths you finally share, the hearts you refuse to let the world forget. And Diana Ross? She's not just a diva. She's a storyteller, a survivor, a woman who's lived it all and still sings with her whole soul. So if this story moved you, if you felt even an ounce of that emotion she poured out, go ahead and tap that like button. Hit subscribe if you want more untold stories from the legends who shaped the world. And drop a comment. What's your favorite Diana Ross or Michael Jackson moment? Because these aren't just stars. They're humans. And their stories deserve to live on. Thanks for being here. Stay legendary.